Hello. Hello. 1 year ago, I was standing in the middle of a great big stage in the Dallas Convention Center in front of about 10,000 of my closest friends. I was celebrating the achievements of my top-producing, all-female, record-breaking team in a multi-billion-dollar direct selling company. We had gone from producing $383,000 in sales to over $1 million in sales, ranking us among the top teams in the nation, number 10 out of 10,000 teams. The accomplishments of these women were extraordinary, to say the least. But this quantum leap was the result of putting into practice three components that I believe that when you put these three components together, you can unleash the powerhouse selling abilities of any willing woman. Now, I have been in sales for 30 plus years. Thank you. I started in sales when I was 18 years old, and I have worked with big teams and small teams. But on a complete fluke, I entered into the world of direct sales, or network marketing, whatever you want to call it. And I have had the pleasure of working with hundreds of women through those 10 years. Now, I'm going to humbly admit to you guys that I am one of those people that was a natural-born seller. You know, you hear about those people that are just sort of natural-born sellers. I am one of those people. I can talk to anyone, I make friends with anybody. I love to make friends. See? But when I entered into this new world, it was unique and different. This direct selling world, it was like nothing I had ever been a part of. This new path gave me the ability to be around women from different backgrounds, different ages, different stories. And I began to wonder, can I unleash the powerhouse selling abilities in a woman if she isn't born with it? During those 10 years, I worked with hundreds of women. And I worked with them day in and day out. And you know what I found out is that a woman doesn't have to be extroverted or business savvy or even brave to be successful in sales. Now, do those things help her selling business? Absolutely. But do they make or break her selling career? Absolutely not. Through the many years of doing things often wrong and sometimes right, I saw that there was a pattern. When I put together these separate components and I worked them together with my team, they began to flourish. And their selling abilities began to explode. I know what you're thinking. You're just talking about women. Yeah, that's all I know. That's it. Just women. That's all I got. So the first component that I want to share with you is motivation. Now, I break motivation down into two components, internal motivation and external motivation. Internal motivation is the type of thing that you can get a woman to move past her fears and do the things that make her uncomfortable because her motivation is, we're tapping into something so deep inside of her. Believe it or not, women are rarely internally motivated by money. I know you're thinking of your 28-year-old friend that married the 97-year-old billionaire. That is a different type of motivation, okay? We want designer shoes? Sure. Would I like a yacht in a far-off Greek island? Sure. But generally speaking, you cannot get a woman to move, cannot get her motivated when the end thing is money. Over the years, many, many women have joined my team. And I would ask them, why did you join? And almost all of them would say, I need extra money. But when it came down to doing the activities that matched up with that, getting that money, rarely did it motivate her. So I had to back up and I had to look at, it wasn't the money motivating her, but what was the money for? What did she need the money for? I had a woman on my team, and she didn't live local to me. And over for several months, she was telling me how much she wanted to earn extra money, how much they needed extra money. And yet when it came down to doing those activities that actually brought that money into her, she just wouldn't do it. So I decided to dig in deep with her. And what I found out is the reason that she wanted the money was to take her family on a trip to Disney. So what we did was we broke it all down. We broke down how much it was for plane tickets, the hotel, the Disney tickets, the fast passes, because that's like a thing you really, really need. And then, like even matching t-shirts. I know that's also a thing. I haven't done it, but it's a thing. And we put all of those things in there. And then we broke down the activity that could match up to her getting the results to be able to have that trip. But then I learned there was one other thing. She was so scared of making booking calls or making those calls to be able to sell her to her appointments. So we dug in a little more, and this is what we did. We got a picture frame, and we put the picture of her 3 kids in it. We put it on her desk where she would be making the calls, and we put a sticky note on it that said, "Mom, please make booking calls. Love your kids." And we had her kids fill it out. That type of motivation, that may be one of mine. That type of motivation tapped into something so deep that within 3 months, she had the money for her trip. The second part of motivation is external motivation. Women will often do more for the collective goal than they will ever do for their own personal goals. We're just sweet like that. We just do. It was about 4 weeks after our $1 million year, and one of my top producers came up to me, and she said, "I'm so lost right now. I am flailing. I don't know what I'm running for. I don't know what I'm working for." And 2 things hit me. Number 1, I had done a really bad job at vision casting for my team for that year. And 2, I couldn't believe all that year she'd worked so hard for our team rather than her own personal goals. As a leader, we have got to put goals. We have got to put a vision out there so big and so exciting that our team wants to move mountains to make it happen. You cast a vision to your team and you do it over and over and over and over, even when you start to not believe it. Because many times with a team of women, it is the sole thing that is motivating her. When you combine a strong internal motivation with a strong external motivation, hold on to your hat because women will blow you away. The second component of the 3 is recognition. This is my favorite thing. I actually have the love language. Y'all know the love languages? And mine are like words of affirmation. So I'm a little bit ashamed, or should be, at the levels in which I have been willing to work to hear my name, like on a conference call, in an email, or a newsletter. Like it just does it for me. And you know what? It does it for a lot of other women. This is probably going to shock y'all, but we get very little recognition at home. We don't get a lot of, "Mom, that was a fantastic dinner. Mom, thank you for getting up every single day making my lunch and doing my breakfast and then bringing my lunch to me at school that I just left on the counter. Mom, thank you for entertaining me when I have told you every 30 minutes of this entire summer that I am so bored. Mom, I honor you. I love you, Mom. I honor all that you do. This has never happened in the history of the world. So can you imagine if you create an environment for her that is filled with recognition? It's not just for the selling piece either, because sometimes we think that the only thing we're going to recognize is that when she actually sold something or she made the money. But the recognition needs to come at every single piece that leads up to the selling process. So it would be that she's accountable. It would be that she made booking calls. It would be that she said her name right. Whatever it is, recognition is so big for a woman. Recognize her, and she will love it. We are human, and we need to be noticed. I don't think that's just a woman thing. I think that's men and women. So, women, recognize your husbands for what they do. That, in fact, was the only thing I know about men. And women and men, the same for your women. It works. In short, find a win and raise her up. The last piece of this component, I did tell you that I was. The last piece of this is community. Creating a strong sense of community is critical because we are not created to do this thing called life alone. Society has taught women so often that we're supposed to be competing with each other. But the reality is, we're the happiest when we're together and we're raising each other up. These photos right here. This was a group of women that did an extraordinary thing. And every single one of these photos was taken around a work-related event. We are happy and we are connected. Women, when you create a community and a woman is fearful and she can turn to somebody else and say, I feel like I'm failing here, then another woman can lift her up and say, I have been there. When you put them together, they can cheer each other on through their wins. And that is critical for women. Women will support that which they help to create. I had a mentor that said that to me over and over, and I've never forgotten it. When you look and you see the joy of the faces, can you imagine when you have put together components of recognition and motivation, and then you bring them together like this, the results are amazing. 6 months ago, I left the world, the wonderful world of direct selling, to take a leap of faith and write books. And to speak and do an occasional TED Talk here and there. But what I learned, what I know, is that women are magnificent, brilliant, courageous, complex beings, and each one of us has a giant inside of us. When you bring us back to the core reason that we are working, the real why within us, we can push back past any amount of fear. When you give us a strong, exciting vision, we can make that vision a reality. And when you see us, really see us, and you tell us we're doing a really good job, we can move mountains. And then when you finish it off by bringing us together in an uplifting, positive, powerful community, will you, my friend, have the formula for unleashing our greatest selling abilities. Thank you.